Hello, lovely people, and welcome to Philanthropic February, day 16. I have very appropriately got my Let It Snow mug in hand with a lovely bit of biscuit brew from Yorkshire tea. There is actually snow in the forecast today, but I'm not keeping my fingers crossed because occasionally over this winter they have promised us snow and it has not occurred, very disappointingly. It's so good, especially with maple syrup in it. So I will keep checking out of the window while I'm at work this afternoon to see if I can see any snowflakes falling. It's grey today, but it doesn't really look particularly promising. Oh well. It was a lovely walk we had yesterday. You will have seen a little bit of it in the video I published and that came out this morning. And it's so nice to see so much wildlife activity again. We had a flicker, which is like a woodpecker, hammering on one of the metal vents on our roof yesterday morning. And I thought, well, if that isn't a sign of spring, nothing is. They obviously like to use it instead of a tree because it makes a lot more noise. And I suppose it advertises to any female flickers around that they're ready and waiting for a mate. It's the earliest we've ever had that happen. Normally, it wouldn't happen until probably March. So yeah, this winter has been so odd. But yes, I was looking out of the window yesterday morning as I was making my first cup of tea of the day, and there were 2 black squirrels leaping around. There were quails running across the dormant vegetable garden. And as the sun was coming up over the mountains and just lighting like the top third of my walnut tree, you could see that the birds were definitely favouring that top sunny part of the tree where it was a bit warmer than the bottom branches. So lovely. So that's your weather update for today. I think my hair's still wet. It probably looks kind of odd. Every day I try and style it a little bit differently, and I'm just so out of practice because I haven't had it longer for so long. It was short for years and so easy to look after, and now I'm having to faff with it every day. I'm also trying not to shampoo it. I'm just washing it with conditioner because I don't want to wash this lovely blue out too quickly. So what I was fiddling about with this morning and last night is a test crochet project, and I rather like this fits in so perfectly with Philanthropic February because I'm doing a favour for somebody. I and a few other people are going to be crocheting up this pattern, which I heard about on Ravelry. If it's something you're interested in doing, there's a group on Ravelry called the Testing Pool, where people will put up a picture and details of their knit or crochet design and ask for people who will test it. The volunteers don't get paid for that. You probably will just get paid with a clean copy of the pattern at the end. But the reward is in the doing, and it's quite a nice way of seeing new designs as well that people are coming up with. So this little bag was just right up my alley. It had little toadstools around the top of it. And so last night I got the first part of it done, and this morning I got a little bit more done. Now I am having a few issues with it, and this is why people get their designs test knitted or test crocheted, right? Because they need you to help them get the pattern to be as clear as possible. So I made the bottom green part of the bag straight away. That was fine, although there was no stitch count for the bottom part, so I don't know if I have the right amount of stitches. The reason I say that is that when I got to the part where you're doing the white stems for the mushrooms, the pattern repeat didn't fit neatly into the amount of stitches I had. I was short a couple of stitches for the last part. These 2 little stems are too close together. And I thought, okay, well, I'll just carry on and work the next couple of rows and get the mushroom caps done. But as you can see, it's flaring out really, really badly. In the photos of the design, there is no flare. And it looks to me like there might only be 6 mushrooms on each side in the original design. And I have a total of 14. So these 2 at the ends, I don't think should be there. So I am waiting to hear back from the person who wrote the pattern. Yesterday, I sent them 3 very detailed emails with suggestions for corrections, and I haven't heard back from them yet. Actually, yesterday it was 2, and I sent them another one this morning. So 3 total. And I am thinking that if I haven't heard from them by this evening, I will be ripping out the red and the white, and I will do the math to get 12 mushrooms instead of 14. I have 54 stitches around, which won't work perfectly with a stitch multiple of 4 or 5. Let's see, how about 6? I think it'll work with 6. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. So I'm stalled on this for now, and I'm putting it aside, and we'll see how that works out. Oh, I don't know if you noticed, but don't want to knock the microphone. I am using one of the little mushroom stitch markers that I made the other day. How appropriate. So I'll be taking that back up to my living room later. So while I am waiting for the person to get back to me, I will, I think, get started on the Melt the Ice hat. I've seen a few different variants of knit and crochet Melt the Ice hats online. And if you search it on Ravelry, just putting apostrophes or quote marks around Melt the Ice, there are knit hats, crochet hats, there are little pins you can make and that sort of thing. So I've decided I'm going to do the one by, I assume it's Sisu, S-I-S-U. It's knitted. It has a small amount of ribbing with an optional doubling the ribbing if you want a turn up. And it's the one my friend Jane used. She made it last week. And when she made hers, she did a really cool little band of a type of Gansey stitch. In other words, like a knit purl pattern above the ribbing and before the rest of the stockinette. And it looked really good. And I was thinking that if I did something similar to that, I could include maybe some sort of wording in it with pearls on a knit background. Something like resistance or something, or resist oppression, or I'm not sure what yet. I can think about that while I'm doing the ribbing. So many people have been complaining about the yards and yards of ribbing that's in the original hat by Needle and Skein in Minnesota. And you know what? I don't have a problem with ribbing anymore. I used to hate it and hate it so badly because it always seemed that it took forever and you just wanted to get on with the rest of the pattern. But now that I knit continental and knitting and purling are just so smooth, like transitioning from one to the other, I don't mind it at all. With that vest I made out of the Karen anniversary cakes, there was at least 6 inches of ribbing, and that was for a body, not just a head. And yeah, I actually quite enjoyed it. So I have 2 balls of the Loops and Threads Impeccable in the colour Claret. Apparently you only need 1 for a hat, but I bought 2 because the yarn was on sale at Michael's for a buy 2 get 1, and so I bought 6, including the mushroom stuff and this. So I'm going to grab a circular needle and get this cast on today. I do have to go to work pretty soon. I don't have long to sit and chat, so I will be finishing up this video tonight. But I think I can get this started and the ribbing started, so that later on I can make more progress on it when I'm sitting on the couch this evening. Oh, am I glowing? Am I looking like I am glowing right now? My face is really burning. The old rosacea's coming back again. I think what I need to do is go to my doctor and get another prescription for the gel that he gave me 2 years ago. Because anytime the rosacea flares up and I get pimples, I can throw some on there and it makes it go away nice and quickly. But yeah, I can feel myself flushing, and that is a definite precursor to more pimples. Okay, which ones do I want to use? I want to use the nice blue-green ones, because why wouldn't I? They're so pretty. Yeah, did I mention 3.5mm needles, US 5? Oh, that's kind of small. With worsted weight yarn. But they suggest that so that you have a tightly knitted hat to keep the cold out and the warm in, I guess. The second set of Knit Picks needles I bought have the sizes imprinted on the metal, which is good. So yeah, pretty skinny, hey? So it's going to be quite tight knitting. And I've had a bit of a flare-up of the pain in my forearm from when I broke my wrist snowboarding in 2018 and had a cast and then a titanium plate put in my wrist, hence the nice scar I've got here. And every now and again, I get a little ache in here. And so I'm going to have to be careful not to overdo it, because it's a rather unpleasant feeling. And let's see, I need a cable. So once I take the phone off the tripod, I will be checking the pattern again to see how many stitches to cast on. It says it makes a 21-inch finished hat if you knit to gauge. I am not going to bother doing a gauge swatch for a hat, rightly or wrongly. So I will start, and I will keep my fingers crossed that I will get close to gauge at least, and that it will fit me when it's done. I should be able to tell, once the ribbing's done, I should be able to tell that it will stretch to fit my head. I need my little tool, my little bit of non-slip grip, so that I can tighten my needle onto the connector. My little tightening thing. Okay. I think this is my longest cable. All done and ready for casting on. I'm going to do it magic loop, as I always do. Yep, I think that's probably the best thing. I could do it on a short cable, couldn't I? But I'll start with magic loop, see how I go. So if you're in one of the Canadian provinces that has Family Day today, by the time you see this, it'll be Tuesday. So I hope you enjoyed your weekend. I am going to work from 1 till 5 this afternoon, so it's not too bad. It'll be over before I know it. I'm not sure if the store is open shorter hours today, but I suspect not, because with Michael's being a US company, they tend not to pay full attention to Canadian holidays. So I'll talk to you a little bit later when I've hopefully made a bit more progress on the mushroom bag and also on the Melt the Ice hat. We got the snow. The forecast was right for a change. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. It's evening. My shift went pretty quickly, as you will have seen from a little clip that I just put in. We got snow. So excited. It'll probably freeze on the roads overnight, but oh well. Got to take the good and the bad together, eh? But it was so nice because the till I was at this afternoon looks out of the window onto the parking lot, and I was enjoying watching the snow falling. But at lake level, it wasn't settling. But as I made my way home and got higher and higher, I hit the snow line, and my house is above the snow line. And so my backyard was looking lovely and white when I got home. I love it. I did check the forecast for the rest of the week, and there is one night where it's supposed to get down to -10, but that may not happen. We'll just wait and see on that one. So, more on the mushroom bag. So, where was I this morning when I was talking about it? I can't remember exactly where I got to this morning, but this is where I'm at right now. So by the time I had got home from work, the designer had replied to me and said she thought I had the right amount of mushrooms. I have 14, and I thought she had 12 in her picture, but she seems to think that that many is correct. It is a lot wider than the body of the bag. So she said, keep on going because it'll probably be okay. Well, I don't think it is, because I have 54 stitches around here. 54 stitches for the body. And then by the time I had done this taupe row, I had 70. So yeah, it doesn't look right to me. So I told her tonight, after I had done this part, that I wasn't really happy with it, and that I would probably rip back and redo the toadstool rows again and try it with fewer mushrooms so that it looks better. I fastened off this because I wanted to use the same colour for the strap. I haven't done much of the strap. I have done all of this. It's made with Tunisian simple stitch, and I didn't think I could do Tunisian with this ergonomic style of crochet hook. But considering I'm only having to put 5 stitches max onto my hook, it works fine. So I can use this one. She suggested 4, but it was just so fiddly, and I thought I'm going to go with 5. And I think it'll be fine, but obviously there's a lot of strap to do. So that's not going to be done tonight. But yes, that's a really quick project. It's a small bag and it won't take long to finish. She does suggest lining the bag with fabric afterwards, which I will be happy to do, but only when I'm satisfied with the crocheting part. And also, she suggests putting little white, embroidering little white specks in your mushroom caps. And I might use French knots for that. But again, I have to be happy with the number of mushrooms I've got on my bag before I can do that. Because once I embroider dots onto my mushroom caps, I won't be able to rip it out. So while I am on hold with that, I am going to cast on for my Melt the Ice hat. Now, these balls of impeccable, sometimes they fight you when you're trying to get the end out of the middle, which is why I took all of my ball bands off of those yarns in the mushroom project bag. But this one's working beautifully. I much prefer to be pulling from the inside of the ball. So much better. So for my project bag, I'm using one of these that I made last year. This was called the Mabel bag, and it's a tutorial. And I made it a flat bag thinking it might be for cross stitch or something, but it works perfectly. I've got 2 balls of the Impeccable in there, and it would easily fit the hat, the ongoing hat, in as well. I think that was the biggest size. Pretty sure it's the biggest size. I've got 3 sizes of that. Can't remember. Now with long tail cast on, as you probably know, the challenge is leaving enough yarn. And I'm going to go, hopefully, ridiculously long so that I don't run out of yarn for my 104 stitches. Ooh, it's a little fluffy there. Not impressed with that. There's a little bit of a fuzzing up part there. I think I might cut that out. Excuse me while I have a slurp of lemon ginger tea. All right, we're going to start that with a fresh piece of yarn that hopefully has no fuzzy bits on it. Because if I have that slightly damaged piece right on the brim of my hat, it's going to be very visible, isn't it? I do like a long tail cast on. I don't know if you're of the same generation as me, but when I learned to knit, I learned from my mum when I was about 7 or 8. And she used to do this thing where she wrapped the yarn around her thumb, stuck the needle in it, and then looped it around and basically knitted it off. And that was the only cast on I knew for years and years and years and years and years. And then when I got back into knitting in a big way, and then Ravelry happened at around, 2007? And there was so much more information available online than we ever knew possible. And I found out that the slingshot method of doing the long tail cast on like this was basically exactly the same result as the thumb method that my mum showed me all those years ago. That was a eureka moment, I can tell you. So what's new in your world? I had a lovely comment today from Gina saying she likes to watch my video with her morning coffee, because I'm scheduling it to go up at midnight my time, which is Pacific time. And so if you're in the UK, that would be 8 a.m. If you're on the east coast of North America, I guess that would be about 3:30 in the morning, maybe? I don't know. As for Australia, New Zealand, I have no idea. Coming along. I do love this red. Red is not really a colour I wear very often. You can probably tell from what I said earlier about my rosacea that wearing something red doesn't exactly enhance the skin tone when you have rosacea. And I know there's different tones of red, and different shades maybe flatter different people, but I feel like this Melt the Ice hat has to be red. Because what it's doing, it's not necessarily directly copying, but the inspiration is drawn from the Norwegian resistance hat in the 1940s, and that hat was red. But as usual, there are many, many people using their ingenuity and creativity to make adaptations to fit their knitting or crocheting abilities or their personal style, which is awesome. This is the point where I think, surely I've got 104 stitches by now, but I probably only got 50. I'm going to have to count in a second. In case I haven't already said so in this video, because, you know, I started it this morning and that was a long time ago. If you haven't already gone to day 7 and entered to win a pair of earrings, go watch that video and comment underneath. All right, I got to count. 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm nearly there and I have left way too much yarn as my tail. But at least it's better than not having enough. Because then you have to undo your cast on and start all over again. Oh, 104. I keep thinking it's 140 stitches and it's only 104, so I've probably done too many now. Hold on a second. 6, 8, 10, 12, 104. 104 stitches. Done. Now I'm going to just split them approximately in the middle so that I can do the magic loop. And I'm not going to fret too much about whether my cast on is twisted. I'll try and make sure it's not twisted. But the nice thing about the first round is that there's only one strand bridging the gap between the first stitch and the last stitch, and you can fix a twist after the round 1 if you need to. In fact, you might even get away with it after round 2. But if you leave it too long, then you're probably out of luck. Ooh, so that's my hat officially cast on. You know what I need? I need a little side table right here next to my armchair, don't I? So I don't have to put my tea on the floor. In fact, I'm sure that one of my kids has just recently thrown a small wooden table out into the carport that was in their room that we've had for years, like since they were small. And I saw it out there and I thought, oh, how sad. They've finally given up on it. They don't want to use it anymore. And I could use it right here and I could put a nice cloth over the top of it and it would look lovely. I'm going to have to think about that. All right, how are we doing here? Oh yes, I've done all the 4 stitches. Well, I'm not going to make you watch me knit for eons. This video is probably long enough for one day. My friend taught herself to do the Norwegian pearl for her hat, which I'm very impressed with because I've seen Anna and Carlos do Norwegian pearl, and I'm pretty sure I have tried that and I wasn't able to get the hang of it. But how appropriate was that, really? It's a Norwegian style hat and she was Norwegian pearling. Brilliant! Well, I'm going to keep on with that, and probably as I have tomorrow morning free before I have to go to work, I'm sure I will be doing more on this tomorrow, and I'll be sure to update you on my progress. So thanks very much for watching again today, and I'll see you tomorrow for another day of Philanthropic February. Bye for now.